Hello, my name is Chris, and I have a huge interest in the United Nations, so it's an honor to meet you today. And the question I want to ask is regarding refugees. Refugees have become a huge problem nowadays. What do you think is the most fundamental solution to solve this problem?
Well, the solution is to avoid the conflicts that generate refugees. Unfortunately, we have been not effective in preventing conflicts. We are doing much more managing conflicts and preventing them, and that's very unfortunate. And we need to be able to, that's the opportunity that I mentioned in the 90s. In the 90s, there was an idea that it would be possible with the Security Council, with the international community, getting together, solving problems, avoiding refugees. Now, it's more difficult. There is more division. There is lack capacity to have an effective prevention strategy. But once refugees come out, they have the right. Refugees, it's not a matter of being charitable or solidary. No, they have the right, according to international law, to be received and to be protected. And that one of the most dramatic things in today's world is to see borders closed to refugees that are escaping persecution and war in need of protection. And this is something I count on young generations to make sure that this kind of abuse does not prevail.
My question is that the North Korean defectors problems. Nowadays, there are 30,000 people in South Korea and many at the China. However, Chinese government don't accept the North Korean defectors because they recognize the North Korean defectors as the people which could make a harm or crime against territory of the Chinese authority. So they easily don't respect the Convention Against Torture and Convention relating to the status of the refugees. So how we can solve it? How can we solve this problem, or is there any alternative from the United Nations to solve that?
Now, we have always been very clear that people fleeing North Korea cannot be sent back to North Korea. They might have fled not for political persecution. They might have fled for economic reasons or for hunger or for something of the sort. But if they are sent back, they will immediately be persecuted. And so there is one doctrine in refugee law, which is refugees in situ. As soon as they come out, they become de facto refugees because of the risks of being sent back. And what we have been saying to the Chinese government and to all other governments is that North Koreans that flee the country need to be protected and cannot be sent back to the country of origin because they might suffer. Our experience says that not in all circumstances it happens, because also it's not a very effective country in many aspects, but many of them had suffered terribly, and so to send people back to the country is something that needs to be avoided at all costs.
My name is Youngji Lee, and my question is that when was the happiest moment and the saddest moment when you work at the UNHCR?
My happiest moment was when I was traveling by truck with people from South Sudan that were living in Uganda. And when peace in South Sudan was established, we are talking about 2006-07 when it happened, and I was traveling by truck with a family to go back to their village. And when they came back to the village and saw family members and friends, and this, I mean, coming together after years of exile, was a fantastic moment in my life. The worst moment was when civil war started in South Sudan again, and the same families that had gone back to the country were forced to flee. And I remember once being in a camp, and two boys coming to me and said, "We remember you were with us when we were coming back." Not in that truck, but I mean in the preparation that we've done, and now we are fleeing again. That is horrible, I can tell you. Yeah. And that is a tragedy for the people of South Sudan, and let's be honest, the leadership in South Sudan never cared for the well-being of their people, because if not, they would have to stop this conflict long ago. I think the most important priority in economic policy anywhere in the world today must be fighting youth unemployment. Creating, and there are many ways to do it. I mean, you can do it through better training, you can do it through specific creation of jobs, addressing young people in certain areas where that is possible. You can do it also with international cooperation, with visas for young people to go and work for some time and gain training in some areas and then come back. But to address the problem of the youth unemployment is today the most important economic, social, and security priority in the world. And the UN is doing everything possible to make sure that in our campaign for the so-called Agenda 2030, for the Sustainable Development Goals, to have the job creation for young people as an absolute priority. And in our dialogue with governments, we are always saying that this needs to be priority in national plans and priority in the way international cooperation is designed.